Hey everyone, this is Mark Spitzig here from Dr. Fernandez's Graphical Application Development course with my final project. I did create the project using Visual Studio 2013 and it is in WPF. So let's get started. Go ahead and click Start and it will go ahead and run, and we end up with two windows. The Always on Top Tools window, which free floats and you can place it anywhere. I'll just go ahead and put it on the right. And then the main window. I did put its very own icon here and when it shows up in the tray, so you can sort of know when the application is running. Basically, the two windows are they're intertwined. The main one is pretty much a blank white window. It's a big canvas with only one little option there, which I'll go into later. I'm going to actually uncheck that for now and go into the reason behind that later. But the tool menu is sort of where you can change what you can do over on the main window. I'll start with the free draw tab, and you'll notice there are these 4 tabs here, but I'm going to start with the free draw tab simply because it's the most straightforward. It defaults to what I call rainbow draw, where if you sort of click and hold just like you normally would on some sort of paint application, you can draw a line. And it's hard to see at this point, but it does make a rainbow color. I actually can use this slider to make it a lot thicker, so I can go ahead and draw and even thicker still. So you can see that I can use this slider to change the thickness, and it will draw a sort of random lines that are random colors sort of as the mouse moves. And that's the rainbow draw. Now if I want to draw in a solid color, I can unclick the rainbow draw, and in fact if I don't unclick the rainbow draw, it won't allow me to select a color from the drop down menu anyway, but I can unclick the rainbow draw, and then this becomes activated where I can sort of choose a color. These are sort of your basic colors floating around here, and if you want something standard, they're down here, but if you want something crazy or you know the specific code for it, you can go ahead and use it, or just adjust it using your sliders. So we can make like a color in there. I can choose my own using this slider. Let's just make it a nice purpley blue. Okay, so I can see that it did actually draw that, but I can go ahead and it will connect the last 2 points that are used, so you can sort of see that. I can make one that is now sort of red and draw with that as well. So a free drawing application. Now if you'll notice, when I change the tabs, the bottom 2 buttons stay the same. That's because on any menu you can do these 2 options, and the first one is clear, which like you would think it does clear the whole canvas. So that is essentially the free draw. Now we'll go on to the shape functionality. What the shape functionality will do is it uses these 3 criteria to draw a geometric shape. And I'll show you what it kind of means. It's kind of a spiral shape, but I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to go ahead and make it blue. I can use the standard options that I had in the free draw, as in change the color and change the line thickness as well. So I'll go ahead and do that. Now this is where the place marker will come into place. I can actually check this and it will show the last place where I click. And just one thing I didn't point out before, over here on the draw tools is the standard arrow mouse. While if I move on to the actual canvas, it just switch to a pen, so which makes sense because it shows that you're going to be drawing. But if I go ahead and take this and place a marker, you'll see a little orange X there, which basically just says, hey, that's the last place you clicked or you let off the mouse. That's where the pattern is going to begin. So we can go ahead and see that. I can also do the same thing without the marker, but that's okay. So I'll go ahead and hit the draw button. And you can see the shape it sort of spirals inward, and the 3 characteristics are the angle, the line length, and the line change. Now the angle is the amount that the angle changes of the line each time it finishes one line and moves on to the next one. Meaning, if I look sort of here, if I start with a horizontal line, this angle in here is 60 degrees. Oops, 60 degrees. And if I sort of continue on, once this stops here, and if I continue on this one, it turns 60 more degrees. And it sort of goes from there. So it sort of spirals itself. Sorry, I'll just redraw that. Okay. So it sort of spirals itself around. And the length of the first line will be 300, then it changes by 5 each time. It actually decreases by 5 every time. So we'll go, 300, then 295, and it spirals around. And by changing these 3 characteristics, you can actually get some pretty cool shapes. So for instance, if I wanted to draw something that was sort of triangular, but not exactly a triangle, I will do, let's say, 119, which is close to the 120 degrees, which would make a perfect triangle, but I'll go ahead and leave it down. I'll also decrease this to 3, and we'll go ahead and draw. And you can see it sort of makes kind of a cool spiraled triangle shape. I can do the same one, but if I increase the length, if I say double to 600, it'll sort of start bigger and almost just do the exact same thing. Now it will have more spirals because it does have more room to work with, but you can get sort of some cool shapes going on like that. If I change it to, let's change it to red as well. Let's change this one to, let's say, like 89 degrees, which is close to a 90 degrees, which is close to a square. So you can sort of get that it's sort of starting with the square and working its way sort of around. I can also change and adjust the color, and I could adjust the line thickness as it draws, which I think makes kind of a cool effect. So if I start it off a little thicker and it draws, right, and I sort of make it thinner and thinner and thinner as it goes, it sort of makes a pattern that sort of looks like it's three-dimensional in a way. So you can really get creative with these. You can overlap them, and you can really go nuts with what you can do. If I pick something like 80 degrees, go ahead and put it right there, and let's say we'll keep it blue is fine for now. Make it a little thicker, and we'll go ahead and draw. I'll make it thinner as it goes down into the middle. And then what if I decide maybe let's pick another color, and I'll just do the opposite. I'll start it thinner and I'll increase it as it goes into the middle, and it sort of makes a nice sort of blended pattern as we go. And this is where I introduce the save button, which basically it takes whatever's on the canvas. So I draw a happy face here too, my initials, and it'll save the whole canvas by clicking it, and there it goes, it gets saved. And I'll go over a few examples that I've done before in a little bit, but it does save to the folder where the project is. Okay, so let's go ahead and clear that. I'll go on to the next tab, which is tree, and there's only one button, one thing to choose from, and that's draw tree. And that's because that's basically what it does. There's one option. You click a point and it'll draw a tree sort of sprouting at that point. Now every tree that is drawn is random. The leaves are in random spots. The leaves are random colors within a certain gradient of green. And so each tree that you draw will look different. You know, this one had a little wider angle up here, but essentially they all look different. You can even click twice in the same spot and it'll branch 4 places out here, but essentially it just splits into 2 every single branch, and I think it does that for sort of 6 iterations around. If I click it twice on the same one, like this tree, you can see the tree is a little bit thicker, but it basically just makes a tree sort of randomly, and you can see the results right here, and they all are all different. The final one that is kind of the last of the tabs is I put the pattern that just sort of looks like an up, down, up, but basically I call it bounce, and it didn't fit in there, but I just called it bounce. I'll go ahead and clear it. And what bounce does, it essentially just takes the starting angle that you give it, and it shoots a line out in that angle until it hits the side, then it bounces off the side of the canvas, and still goes down and hits another one, and it sort of keeps on bouncing as we go. Now I can start this at any point where I place the marker, right? So I can go ahead and I'll deactivate it, but if I click up here, it'll start up here, and we'll go ahead and change the color to red or crimson, I guess, and we'll hit bounce. So it starts up here and it bounces around the screen, and the amount of bounce that it goes for is this number right here. You can adjust that as well. And just like with the other one, I can adjust the line thickness, and I already adjusted the color. But it shoots off at 60 degrees and then ends up bouncing around, and what you'll end up with is a lot of cool looking patterns. So let's just see what else I can do. Let me do the same one, the same pattern, except I'll change the angle to, I don't know, 25 degrees. I'll change the color to blue, and I'll make it, there's a center button, so it'll actually start at the center, and I'll go ahead and hit bounce, and you can see it sort of it bounces around, generating this argyle looking shape kind of, and you can end up with some very, very neat patterns. And just like with the other one, you can actually change the thickness as you go. For instance, if I make it again, let's just say 70 degrees this time, I'll start it in the I'll start it in the middle. I'll only make it go 150 this time, but I'll start it a little thicker, and I'll actually then decrease it and maybe increase it and decrease it. So it does sort of make a a cool background pattern by chance. You can again overlap them and make them a little bit blended, and you can start them in different spots. I can do this exact same pattern but start it over a little bit, and you'll end up with some, like I said, some very neat patterns. And then again, you can also save those. So I'll go ahead and save button, and it will save everything that's on the screen at once. I can actually intertwine everything that I'm doing. I can free draw on this one as well. I can rainbow draw on this one if I want. You can stick a tree there if you wanted to, and you can of course again draw a shape. Make the thickness of love. I can draw that shape over here as it sort of works its way around. And that is essentially my project. Now let's take a look at some of the examples that I have sort of created. Here we are in the Save Pictures folder that gets placed inside the compiled version, and we can go ahead and just open with the viewer, and we can sort of scroll through some of the shapes that I had saved. Some of them were just test ones, but other ones look kind of cool. I sort of overlapped the triangle spinning a few times in the diagram and with a few different colors, and sort of has a cool effect. Get some other ones, a nice forest of trees. We end up with this one, which I guess was a hexagon looking shape. Keep on going here. Let me get the draw tools out of the way. It does default to top. I like this one, sort of the 4 different patterns, different colors, sort of in the cube area. I think I added it. Yeah, there you go. Some more trees. I guess there's a blank one. This actually was used to make the icon that I used in the program itself. So I generated this with the program, and then saved it, then used it in the actual project itself for drawing the tree. Some more patterns. Here's some background ones using the bounce feature. Some trees, nice orange and blue background. One that I sort of changed the thickness as I went. Sort of a basket one, just a black and white one, another orange and blue, and we sort of get some more patterns. That one again, I sort of did the same thing. I started thick on one color, went thin, and did sort of the opposite. Nice background. Eventually we're going to get to the one that we just saved, so it's going to be at the end, and what it does is it actually saves each one using draw lines, which is the name of the program, the date, so the actual July 18, 2014, then the time. This was generated at 1:50 p.m. So you can sort of see that every single save will be different. Just some stars, a forest with all the leaves, just sort of random shapes and examples, a random background, other random shapes and examples, background. This is the one, like I said, that I saved earlier, so I made that pattern, even signed it over there, and then the pattern that I most recently saved. So you can see that it is all there, and we can save all your creation and be absolutely creative with all of them in the same screen at the same time. I just want to say that I'm all through here, so thanks for watching. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. I'll be happy to answer them, show you the code, whatever you need. Again, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it.